What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Wise Wolf podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about how to become less attached to material possessions. The reason I'm deciding to make this podcast video is because I find myself constantly going through my closet, constantly cleaning and organizing, dusting, and just I feel like I have so much, and I really don't even have that much. I feel like once I started making my own money and had my own place, I was like, oh, I can have so much stuff now. I can have all these little knickknacks. I have a whole closet. I can fill my closet. But now it's like I've become so trained to think that I can have so much. So now I do have so much. But now I'm just constantly anxious about cleaning and what I'm going to wear. So if you're like me, you're constantly going through your things, getting rid of stuff, and then when you do to go get rid of stuff, you're like, oh, I haven't worn this in 2 years, but I really, really love it, so I'm not gonna get rid of it. That's exactly how I am, and it's so hard. I feel try to maybe write down a goal for yourself. My goal was only 3 dresses, and I think I had 10, and then my goal was 5 pairs of pants, and I had 15. And then my goal for my knickknacks was as long as it looked good and it was easy to dust, it was okay. But anything in drawers or whatever that I wasn't using every day, I was trying to get rid of it because it was too much. It was too much. But also, if you're doing this, my full-time job is thrifting stuff and making it into new clothing. Hence the piles of clothing over here. That's not really pretty background. But anyways, I'm always finding cute knickknacks at the thrift, or this or that, or earrings. So it's so hard for me not to build up my stuff. But I feel ever since I kind of dove more deep into this topic, I'll see something at the thrift store and I'm like, no, I don't need that. Even though it's really cute, do I really need that? No. Sometimes I'll snag them to put on my drops for you guys, but it's definitely been really hard to try to get not as connected or want so many material things. But yeah, now that I've blabbered for 3 minutes about this, I'm gonna finally go into how you can become less attached to material things. So you need to realize that the material things that you have don't make you happy. I'm a fashion designer, so I'm all for wearing clothes that make you feel good and looking cute. But you gotta realize that you are the one that makes it look good. You are the one that gives value to things. The things shouldn't make you happy. I know we live in a materialistic world, so this is really, really hard to grasp, especially if you like material things. I feel all of us do, but you need to kind of just distance yourself. I had this dress when I was going through my closet. I had this dress. It had these bleach painted designs on it, and I haven't worn it in 4 years since a Thanksgiving dinner I had with my family. But I just don't want to get rid of it because it was the first thing I bleach painted. You have that memory within you. Take a picture of it, write it down about it, and just get rid of the material thing, because that memory is still going to be within you. You don't need to keep the thing that connects to the memory. It's just not necessary. When I kind of totally unrelated, but when I moved into my own place, my mom was getting rid of all of our childhood belongings because she just didn't want them anymore. And she had stacks and stacks of my artwork from my childhood. I'm why do you keep all of these? I can see why, but also I just don't want that weight on me. She gave me these bins of old stuff, and I was what am I gonna do with all this? So I think I kept 1 or 2 pieces of art, and then I just took pictures of everything else so I can make them so much smaller, and then the stuff I have is just a stack of pictures. I'm not going in any specific order. I kind of just have like a list of stuff I've researched. And yeah, I'm just going into the next topic now. Very soon after you obtain something that isn't essential or helping you to create, you can't help by wanting something different, something more afterwards. So if you're getting, say you're addicted to shopping on Amazon, you always get random things off Amazon that you don't really need. And then once you get something, you kind of like have the excitement, the package gets there, you open it, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I have this now. And then you just like kind of forget about it. And then like next week you get paid and then you want something else. Buy stuff to give you that serotonin happiness boost. And it's so important to find that with different things. Like, it's kind of like if you're addicted to sugar. Say you're eating candy bars, you're eating M&Ms, which this was me. Me and my son would always go to the gas station and we'd get like M&Ms or like we would get candy. And it's just like something you're fulfilling, like you're fulfilling that like sugary craving. But instead of getting the M&Ms or like the candy bar, you could get a grapefruit. This is something that was revolutionary for me. I started buying grapefruits instead of like sugary processed candies, and I would just sprinkle some cane sugar on top. That satisfied my sugar cravings every single time. And it's just like after you're done eating it, you're like, oh my gosh, like you feel so much better about yourself because it's not like a processed, disgusting food that's going to make you feel gross. So this can kind of be related to anything else. Say you're having a craving to like want to get something, want to try something new. Say you have $20. What if you spent that $20 renting a kayak and going for a kayak ride out in the river? Like, you're not building up your material possessions, you're doing something, you're enjoying something. Or say you spend that $20 on a new paint set. Like, you can still indulge in the material things, but make sure it's like something that's gonna last you or something that's contributing to your happiness, not just like something that doesn't really do much of a value. I hope that makes sense. I'm not saying don't indulge in like buying yourself nice things, but just try not to do it as often and try not to become overly attached. So while I'm listing all these things, I'm not saying become a minimalist, like only have like 3 t-shirts, 4 pairs of pants, this and that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying not to be so attached and to try to limit, if you do have a lot of material things, try to limit how many material things that you have, because I feel like a lot in this day and age, or a lot of people listening to my podcast, you're like mid-20s, late 20s, somewhere around there maybe, and I feel like a lot of us, even if you're not in this group, this can relate to you as well, because if you're listening to my podcast or my channel, you have the same mindset as me. You're trying to grow, you're trying to be more happy in life, create more for yourself. And when you have less, you have more room to learn and create more. When you have less things that you are attached to, you have more room for inner work, inner growth, self-expression, and self-love. When you have faith that you're enough to make yourself happy, like you could go with like a bottle of water and some snacks in the middle of the forest for 3 days and you would be so happy. You just like, you can make music out of nothing. You could dance in the forest. You could play with the sticks. You could find mushrooms. Like, you're just happy with yourself without having all these things in this day and age. When you have detached and finally found that you can just be alone in the forest and just like have the best day of your life, that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for just being happy, just us. Like, I know I keep saying that, but that's basically the goal of less materialism or not being attached to it. So I've done this personally. I have gotten rid of something and I'm like, oh no, like I actually really wanted that, or I actually need that. If you do need something that you've gotten rid of, or you're afraid to get rid of something because you're like, what if I need that later on? You need to have faith that it will come back to you. Like whatever you give away, if you love it, it's going to return, or if you need it, it's going to return. That's kind of just trusting in the universe and knowing that it will always provide for you. So if you need something, it's going to give it to you, and if you get rid of that thing, it will give it to you again, because it knows that it is an essential part for you to progress into your future self. For me personally, and one of the main reasons people do get very attached to a lot of material possessions is because, like, if you didn't have them, you wouldn't be you. If you're a musical player and you have drums and a piano and a guitar, and you're like, I wouldn't be anything without my guitar, or like, I wouldn't be anything without my musical instruments, that's not really a way to live. You need to have the mindset that, oh, if I didn't have my musical instruments, I could beatbox, or I could make some kind of music with some sticks or the water. Like, you just need to know that the world provides, nature provides for you, or that you can provide for yourself. So I am an artist. I used to think that if I didn't have a sewing machine, who would I be? Because, like, I create clothing with my sewing machine. But I can create with anything. Like, I am just an artist. I could go out and get sticks and, like, make something crazy. I don't know. You just need to know that you will be nothing. You won't be nothing without your material possessions. I relate this a lot to the Spider-Man quote, because a lot of, like, of my followers will message me and be like, I don't have money to get a sewing machine, or I don't have enough money for this. How can I be a good artist if I can't afford this stuff? And you don't need any of that to succeed or create art. Back to the Spider-Man thing. Tony Stark, when he takes the suit away from Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's like, I'm nothing without the suit, like, you can't take it away. And Tony Stark, Iron Man, is like, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it. And I know this is just a silly quote from Spider-Man, but I resonate very deeply with it. You should not think that you are this material possessions, because if you're nothing without it, then you should not have it. You need to be something, just you. Alright, kind of wrapping up here. I'm on my second page of notes. Just got done with the first page, and I have one more page of notes about this topic. So if you're trying to figure out why you're always emotionally attached, you need to look at yourself and look at how you are attached to certain things, and try to understand why you are attached to certain possessions. For me personally, kind of some childhood stuff, I used to have so many knickknacks, this and that. Like, I would have so much stuff piled up in my shelves and in my closet. I had so much stuff, and I would always think, like, why can't I just get rid of stuff? Like, why can't I just be more minimal? Because I wanted to be, not because you need to be. But I would just think about this and always trying to, like, come down to the root problem. And I know the root problem, my mom, which, nothing against my mom and why she did this, but when she was little, when I was little, she would, like, rotate our toys. So we would have, like, these bins or containers of toys, and then, like, after a few weeks, we would get kind of, like, bored of them. So she would bring those toys down to the basement, and she would get different toys and bring them up. So we'd be like, oh my gosh, I remember that toy. Like, it's been in the basement for so long, and now it's just, like, so much fun. It's the coolest toy ever, which is a really smart idea if you are a parent, to, like, rotate your kids' toys instead of having all their toys sit out. Kind of have, like, separate bins and rotate them. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, so I would always try to go down to the basement and get toys, because, like, I wanted my toy back. Like, my mom took it away. And I would just be so sad when, like, she would take my toys and put them down there, or my loved stuffed animals. And so I think that's why I personally have an issue with trying to keep stuff, because I don't want to get rid of them, because I had so many toys, air quotes, taken away from me. So I feel like that's, once I, like, realized that, when if I need something, the universe will provide, the universe will give it back to me if I need something. So don't be so worried when you give something away. And also learning to realize that I can just go out and have fun in the ocean or the river or the forest. I don't need these material things to make me happy. Once I kind of came to that conclusion, I definitely downgraded a lot, but now I'm on this like new wave where I still like I feel like I one of the reasons that I have trouble getting rid of stuff is because I feel like my clothes make me pretty. Since I'm a fashion designer, I feel like I need a really cute outfit to make me look good. So I feel like I've been so attached to that thought. And while I do love clothing and like creating clothing and putting styles together, I think I need to go through a phase where I'm just wearing a t-shirt, no jewelry, no accessories, just a t-shirt, like some shorts, and just know that I am beautiful and like I make the t-shirt look good. I feel like this is why monks in the ashram or whatever it's called, they just wear robes. They wear the same robe every single day, and this is so they, for one, don't waste time like picking out an outfit. Two, so they're not comparing each other's clothing, like, oh, is their clothing better than mine? Or three, thinking that their clothing makes them. Since they're all wearing the same thing every single day, they, when they're interacting with each other, they look at their personalities or what about them is great. They're not thinking about their clothing. They know that they are what makes them great. They are beautiful, and their clothing doesn't change that fact. So yeah, I feel like I just need to go through like a phase of just wearing like simple, plain stuff because I've become very overly attached to fashion. Which is why, if you saw my Instagram, I recently did a big closet sale. I got rid of like so much of my clothing. So yeah, something you could do, a little trick that I did is I went through like all of my clothes and I sold them on my website, and I was like, okay, I really wanted a hand pan drum. And I was like, all right, if I make it to 200, I'm going to get a hand pan drum because I am fairly materialistic about my clothes, and it's kind of hard for me to get rid of them because I'm trying to break that very materialistic bond. So I'm like, all right, I have always wanted a hand pan drum, so I'm gonna sell all these clothes, which was like 80% of my closet. And I was like, I'm gonna get a hand pan drum because what makes me happy is creating music, it's being out in nature, and I know that hand pan drum is gonna get me to be in nature more. But yeah, so like if you're trying to get rid of stuff, maybe you can reward yourself. Like if I get rid of, like, say you have 3 boxes of stuff, say, all right, get rid of 2 boxes or 2.5 boxes of stuff, and you can buy yourself a fancy dinner, or you can buy yourself this really, really pretty necklace. Kind of like rewarding yourself. I don't know. That's just what worked for me. Maybe that's not a good thing to do if you're trying to not be connected to materialistic possessions. But I feel like it's a step in the right way. So another thing I wrote down, I researched a lot about this and watched videos about other people talking about this as well. And what someone said, I'm going to read what someone said. To detach from material things, you must go within and realize that the attachment to material things is only an attempt to conceal your fear of knowing yourself. Thought that was really deep. It's definitely true. I feel like, I don't know, like you can have fashion and have all these material things and not be attached. Like you can be like, oh, so and so like always wears these crazy outfits, has all this stuff. Doesn't mean they're attached. They could probably go out in the middle of the forest with nothing for a week and they'd be like the same exact way. Like they are what makes them happy. Their materialistic possessions are not what makes them happy. But yeah, I definitely think this is related to me. I have fear of like getting to know a deeper version of myself. I feel like I am pretty attached to my material possessions, but not as much as I used to be. But yeah, I need to just get rid of more because I have so much stuff. But so now I have this little section that says why less is more. And I have just like some bullet points I'm going to read off why less is actually like better for you and will make you have a more fulfilling life. Less time cleaning and more time doing what you love. Oh my gosh. Yes, me, because I'm cleaning and organizing so much, I feel like. Less time picking out what to wear and more time living. Yes. When you have less, you rely more on your inner happiness to fulfill yourself rather than going from material thing to material thing. I already kind of talked about that. Break the cycle of always buying things. Yeah. Yeah, me. This is all me. I need to work on this just like you guys do. Like, I am not on the other side of it. I'm right here with you guys on trying to not be so attached. Why less is more? It gives you the space to really discover yourself. You have the space to change and not be tied down. You save money. Helps with anxiety and stress. Heals the material attachment bond. So yeah, that is all my notes. Yeah, I'm really excited to start being more of me and less of what my things attach me to. Yeah, cuz I am so tired of this materialistic world, and you need to have this thing, you need to have that thing, you need to have, like, constantly pressuring us to always buy things. And don't be so, like, pressured to get rid of everything. I feel like that's not really what it's about. Like, yes, it is to not to like get rid of stuff, but it's also just like not be so like they are what make you you. I don't know. You need to know that what you are comes from you. Like how you act to other people, how you act to your friends, how you talk to strangers, how you create your art. That's what makes you you. It's not what you're wearing on a Tuesday. It's not like how your bedroom looks. It's not those things. You need to just know that you helping others, guiding others, and just being like a good person is what is going to make you go far in life. And you're like if you're like kind of before this and you're like I don't even know what I like to do, or I don't even know like really who I am, because I feel like we're always ever changing. Getting rid of this stuff will help you to realize that. And one last little tip before I end this episode is if you have a hard time getting rid of stuff and you're trying to be less attached, try getting rid of like a lot of your stuff, but not really get rid of it. Just put it in bins and like put it in the basement or put it in the attic or wherever space so like it's away from you. And then say months down the road, you can open those bins and be like, oh, I went this long without these material possessions. Do I really need them? Like, do I actually need these material things to make me happy? But yeah, it's just like something that I personally did when I was having a really hard time getting rid of stuff because I was so connected to them. But yeah, I hope these tips help you guys to not be so attached to your material possessions. And I'll see you guys next week.